Hey everyone, so today I would like to talk about something that probably doesn't sound super flashy at first, but does actually affect a huge part of America, and that's farming. More specifically, how farmers in rural areas are being left behind when it comes to important information. This all connects to something called the knowledge gap theory, something that we already have gone over a few times in class. But to summarize, the knowledge gap theory says that when new information becomes available, like say through the internet, TV, or social media, people who already have more education, more money, or access to tech usually learn that information quicker. And people with fewer resources tend to fall behind. So instead of everybody catching up, the gap between what people know just gets bigger and bigger. Now, let's talk about farming in rural America specifically. A lot of farming families live in small towns or out in the countryside. And please note, by small towns, I mean they are legally considered, underdeveloped land under United States law. Places that have less than, I believe, 5,000 count as a town. And then if you have under 1,000, that will be a village. And then in Arkansas, there's a lot of rice farms. These families work hard every single day, but they're not always going to have the best internet, access to the latest news on, say, cable, and not even the time to read all the reports about government programs or weather changes. Hence the popularity of the almanac still selling out every single year, which is what farmers use to determine a whole year's worth of weather in advance. This is where mass communication comes in, like news websites, YouTube, farming tutorials, social media updates, government alerts, and so forth. These are supposed to help farmers stay informed, but if those messages are hard to find, written in a technical language, meaning a language that is higher than a 6th to 8th grade reading level, since only around 50% of Americans can read above that, how are rural farmers supposed to be keeping up? Let's say there's a new drought warning from the government. Big farm companies with the high-speed internet and experts on staff will see it, analyze it, and make a plan. Examples being such as Cisco, Tyson, so forth. Beyond Meat also does count under this category. But a small town farmer who checks Facebook once a day on the world's worst internet connection, one bar, might miss that. This can seriously hurt their crops and their income. Even government grants to help small farms can be a part of the problem. A lot of these programs are only advertised online and require filling out complicated forms with no helpline. Only one of those annoying little chatbots. So people who already know how to do that stuff will get the help, and the ones who don't, they get left out again. And that's the knowledge gap. It's not necessarily because rural farmers don't care or aren't smart. It's because the system makes it intrinsically harder for them to get the information they need. This is something that can even start as early as being born, considering the U.S. government only funds schools that have higher attendance levels, including the amount of children. It does not account for population rate. Oopsies. For starters, we need better internet access in rural areas. That's a big one. But we also need to think about how we share information, making it's in plain language, making sure it's clear, and shared in ways that can actually reach people, such as a local radio, print, i.e. a flyer at the library, or in-person meetings. This is most frequently likely going to occur at church, if we are being honest, considering this is the South. And it definitely should not just only be on websites. And for those of us who want to go into communication, agriculture, or public service, or some combination thereof, we need to remember that sharing information isn't just putting it out there, it's also making sure the right people can understand it and use it. Thank you for listening, and signing off for this YouTube video.